My name is Carrie, and I am a COVID long hauler survivor. I was extremely sick. I thought I was going to die, actually, and I have to credit Ellenville Regional Hospital for saving my life. Before coming to Ellenville Hospital, I had been to 3 regional hospitals in the Hudson Valley because I was so sick, and they did all of the tests that they could. They did CAT scans, MRIs, hundreds of blood tests, and they knew that I was sick because I was so thin and my body was wasting away, and yet they couldn't determine what was wrong with me. So rather than admitting me, they sent me home with no hope and no idea of getting better. When I first realized that I was sick with something other than COVID, I had developed extreme fatigue and loss of appetite, and it happened very quickly for me. I had had COVID several months prior, and what had happened to me was I lost my appetite totally, couldn't eat anything. I had experienced extreme weakness. I had experienced brain fog, was having a hard time walking, extreme weakness. I couldn't get out of bed for 2 months. I was in bed for 24/7 for 2 months. I couldn't drive for 2 months, and the symptoms were so severe, I thought that I was going to die. And I had been so encouraged by my friend at Ellenville to come in and be evaluated that I got a ride here. I went to the emergency room. They evaluated me. They understood and quickly identified the severity of my symptoms and how sick I was. They admitted me, and the next day I met with the physical therapy team and some other members of the team that work with COVID rehab patients, and I began the COVID Rehabilitation program. So when I began the physical therapy program, I was a bit apprehensive because at that point I had very little hope that I was going to recover. And when they started me on PT, it was a fairly aggressive program, which surprised me considering that I was very weak and had very little muscle, and I was extraordinarily thin. My therapist, who I first worked with, his name was Mark. He was extremely compassionate and kind, but he was also very insistent that I work to my potential. Work to your potential. Work. Is this as hard as you can go? Let's see how you're doing. Great. You're doing great. There was a lot of encouragement from every single person that I met at the hospital. There wasn't one person that I encountered in the hospital who was not extremely encouraging. So I was in the program for about 4 weeks, and during that 4 weeks, I noticed tremendous gains in my strength, in my ability to walk, in my security in driving a vehicle. After about the 2nd or 3rd week, my driving was very secure. I felt very safe. My muscle tone had come back very quickly. I was able to work at home. I could do things like mow the lawn. I could vacuum. I could do things that I couldn't even remotely do when I was sick. When I had long haulers in the beginning, I couldn't even go and make a cup of tea. Now, after 4 weeks at Ellenville, I was able to mow the lawn. I was able to drive. My muscle tone was back. I had gained weight. It was a fairly miraculous recovery. My hope for living was back. The first day that I came to Ellenville Hospital, I don't think that I could have been in a lower level of despair than I was. I really thought I was going to die. And every single individual that works at Ellenville Hospital, every single one of them, I can't stress it enough, from the cleaning people to the nurses to the doctors to the PAs to the people who came in to take your vitals, everybody was positive and loved working here and went over and beyond what their job was for me. I've spent time in other hospitals where the care wasn't even close to the care that I got at Ellenville Hospital. So that right there was a tremendous boost for me morally, and from a hope standpoint, I thought, well, these people really care. Maybe there is hope for me. Going through the program, going through physical therapy, and having people believe that you are going to get better gives you such a shot in the arm that you start to believe it yourself. And then when I started seeing physical results and I saw the enthusiasm that the people who were providing the care for me gave me, I felt like I was on top of the world. You know, it was a long drive for me to come here, a long drive for me to go home. And yet when I left here, I felt so much more invigorated and so happy. I hadn't been happy in months. And these people here were so uplifting and so positive. I can't say whether it was all mental, it was all physical, it was a combination of both. But whatever they're doing here at Ellenville Hospital, they are doing it right. And I have to credit my success 100%. And I cannot, from the bottom of my heart, express enough gratitude for what this hospital has done for me. They gave me my life back, period.